we have Daniel Beard here to lead us in our invocation and pledge to the flag. If everyone would please stand.
Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for this crowd of citizens that have interest in our city. I believe we've got a great city, and I believe that there is so much to do, but you're with us every step of the way. God, I pray over this meeting tonight. I pray over the agenda that's set before our council and our mayor. I pray wisdom. Give them insight to each one of these items. May your agenda ultimately prevail. God, I pray, God, over the upcoming election. I pray, God, for every individual that's running. I pray, God, give us leaders that want to see East Ridge continue to grow and continue to do better. God, I pray over each and every person in this room tonight. May your blessing be upon us all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We have the roll call, please.
Mayor Lambert.
Here.
Councilmember Stoll.
Here.
Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Dolan. Here. Councilmember Williams.
Here.
City Manager Miller.
Here.
City Attorney Litchfield.
Here. Trust everyone has had opportunity to review the items in the consent agenda. It would be the minutes from the August 23rd agenda work session, as well as the minutes from the August 23rd regular council. Do we have a motion? Motion to approve. We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Halton. Yes. Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Okay, in accordance with the charter, we will entertain communication from citizens at this time. If you are a resident of the city of East Ridge, have a comment, question, or concern you'd like to bring to the council, this would be your opportunity to do so. You'll come to one of the two microphones here at the front, state your name and address for the record. You will have up to 5 minutes. And we had several who have signed in. John Temple was the first one. He's already spoken to everyone. We moved him to the tail end of the last meeting. So the first person on the list will be Charles McCullough, 1214 Reeves Avenue.
My name is Charles McCullough, 1214 Reeves Avenue. Mayor and Council, I just had a few things I wanted to talk about today. First, the dog park on the agenda today. I've been up here a few times talking about it. I'm sure you're glad to hear from me about it. I just think it'd be good for residents and just for all in the city. I hope y'all are okay with that today. Next, the crime-free ordinance that we've been talking about. I know Mr. Litchford said we can't force that to be a requirement, but we encourage it with tax policy. I'd be interested to see the budget impact of, say, if we had like a 10% tax rebate for apartment complexes that enrolled in like a voluntary city program. I don't know if that's possible.
We don't have, fortunately, we do not have the authorization to provide that tax abatement under the Tennessee codes. If it doesn't supposed to explicitly state that we have that authority, then the Attorney General's office has told me on several occasions, you can't do it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was something we thought about.
I know what you're saying.
Uh, Now, changing gears again, about the Sweet Bay rezoning. This isn't gonna make me very popular with some people here. I think it should go ahead, when they're ready to take it off the table. When I first came up here about it, I was against the whole project, but, I mean, Lexington bent over backward to accommodate every request that we've made. I'm just worried if we keep pushing, they're just gonna give up and sell it to somebody who doesn't care what we want. And isn't a LA's conception. I hope y'all consider that. Also have some comments about the South Seminole rezoning, but, I can hold that to the, public hearing. Thank you.
That'll be fine. Thank you, sir. The next person will be June McCormick, 730 Germantown Circle.
Guys are busy. I write most everything, so I'm going to read it because I read better than I can talk. My name's June. My husband's Sam. We're both veterans. Sam's retired Lieutenant Signal Mountain Fire Department. I'm a retired Memorial Hospital respiratory therapist. We almost had, we also had a small lawn business, and we moved in this area, so this is home for us. Recently, I heard some negative talk about my home, Germantown Garden Apartments. The reason we chose Germantown Garden Apartments 3.5 years ago was, number one, the flag. The flag stands there, we're both veterans, we love the United States of America, and we love East Ridge. We moved from the so-called perfect area of Hickson. We love kids in Hickson, but we love East Ridge. The garden, other than the flag, the garden at the entrance to Germantown Garden Apartment is beautiful, very attractive, and very homey. As well as the garden at the fountain, at the office building, was kept very clean. The whole area is kept clean. There's a fenced area in the front that's kept well clean, and the trees are kept clean. We're really home. In the 1980s, this is a memory. We mowed the yard directly across the street from Germantown Gardens, that big hill with the White House at the top. There's a little stone wall that used to be there, I'm not sure if it is there now or not, it looks like it's grown up over the years. We used to sit on that wall with Mrs. Smith and talk about East Ridge and how she was concerned about Germantown Gardens going in where it is. But now I live at Germantown Gardens, but I love Miss Smith at that time too. I don't know who lives there now, I don't know the kid who lives there now, they keep it nice. So when you go in the Germantown Gardens and you go to the right or the left, you go down and go past homes. Many homes have flowers hanging on the wall, they have pretty furniture. They're very much at home. We had to leave our home for the circumstances which would help. So we're very happy to have our home where it is. Things I have never seen. I have never seen fighting in the complex. I have never heard loud or vulgar or cursing language. I've never seen children disrespectful, whether it be young children or teenagers, never disrespectful to their parents, frequently talk to me and have offered to help me carry items into my home. We don't have people that are really bad around me. And I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll see anything there is. I go out first thing in the morning and I talk to the Lord. I go up the last thing at night and I talk to the Lord. The things I have seen frequently, young folks carrying the rubbish up to the dumpster carefully. In fact, I took a bag, hung it on my mirror so that the young fellow didn't have to carry it up there. But he ran up behind me so that he could take care of the bag and dump it in the dumpster. That doesn't sound like a bad kid to me. I've seen first responders come to help residents who are in need of help. And then what really touches my heart is the police department. East Ridge Police Department's fantastic. They make their run through there like they would in any neighborhood. We have our own officer, he makes his run through there. I've never seen anything that they have done bad or otherwise. I'll I did watch them not too long ago run a person that we didn't need in the community. There was a bunch of Chattanooga and East Ridge police there. And the fellow was a non-resident, obviously causing problems, and he was run out of the community. And I've heard the officer say, hit the road, buddy, keep going fast, quickly to the gate, and don't stop. And he got up near the mailboxes, and he slowed down, he said, I said keep going, and he kept going. So we do have law enforcement of our own, plus the East Ridge backups in as well. And I'm gonna tell you just how happy I am with East Ridge, how happy I am with the complex. So anybody that is saying anything that's not what I think it ought to be, because I've heard some negative, I wish they'd come talk to me, because I'd like to know more about it. Like I said, I've been there 3.5 years. East Ridge itself is a great place to live. Everyone, the stores, banks, restaurants, Camp Jordan, and many other places we've been have treated us great. And yes, by now, I'm sure you figured out I'm not a Chattanooga native. I'm a New England, Massachusetts / New Hampshire native. I know how to be a snob, but I chose not to be. I married a native Tennessean, and I respect his home. My wishes and prayers are that everyone will do their best to give the outsider a chance, as they have for me. And the Germantown Gardens will continue to be a great place to live, and so will East Ridge. Good job, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Tim Albritton, 730 Germantown Circle, number 814.
Good evening. I was asked to come up here and relay my experience living in Germantown Gardens. I can pretty much just go word for word from what she just said. I moved in there 10 years ago. After a divorce, I raised my children there. They went to OLPH down the street. We lived in several different apartment buildings within the complex. When I got custody of my children, and then when they went off to college, upscaling and downscaling to different size apartments. In any of those apartment buildings, I never witnessed any domestic violence, physical violence. Don't know anybody had their car broken into. My children would walk the dogs out there. I had no problem with them going out by themselves. I lived across from a lady that was a cardiothoracic nurse. I worked in surgery at Park Ridge. She was at Memorial. The lady next to me works at Erlanger East in the labor delivery, and we found out that she actually worked with my ex-wife and didn't like her as much as I did. So it was really good. The people there really worked with us. They're very courteous. The maintenance men, if we ever have a problem, they're right there. All the neighbors are there for each other. It's just a really great place to live. There's a lot of retired people there. There's a lot of students there. There's a lot of professional people there. From what I understand, there's 400 or 500 residents in that apartment complex. That's people that go to all the eating establishments here, that go to the Ray movie theater. They're part of the community, and they're a good part of the business community supporting the Chamber of Commerce. All I can say is they've been great to me. I've got along with all the staff, and like I said, there's not a lot of teens there. So, and I may be judgmental on teens, but as far as crime rate, I just haven't seen it. I'm sure there's some there. Most of the time, if I see any police or ambulance there, it's because of it used to be, I guess, a retirement development. So you have a lot of elderly people there, but everybody there helps everybody out. They're very good. Like I said, with the younger people there, they're always helping out the older people. And it's just been a great place to live. I wouldn't move anywhere else. I'm too fat. I'm not cutting grass. I'm not climbing up on the roof to do anything. And it's just a great place to live. And I hope the people that try to say that it's crime ridden or run down, they come in there and meet some of the people that actually live there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next resident is Catherine Pollard, 730 Germantown Circle. Good evening.
Good afternoon. Everything has really been said, what I was going to say. I don't want to be redundant, but if you don't mind, let me just add a little personal touch. I was one that was in Katrina back in 2005. So I was a homeowner. I owned 2 properties, and the Lord moved us here. But 3 months after I got here, I met a nice gentleman. 6 months later, he coerced me into marrying him. But what I didn't realize is that it was not a good thing to do. So I literally had to escape from my life. Not physical abuse, but verbal abuse. Things that a man should not tell a woman of God. So, but anyway, I found Germantown Circle. I went there, and that place was a refuge for me. And I asked God to give me at least 5 years to heal. But he gave me 11, which will be 11 next month. I'm here to say, not one time have I witnessed any type of robbery, any type of vandalism, I have even fallen asleep at night with my keys in my door. And my neighbors would knock and say, look what you did. I have fallen asleep, even with my door unlocked. But I do thank God we do have a policeman that's in the building with us, and that plays a large part of it too. And I do love the way that when a new tenant comes in, they have to do a credit report. They have to go through certain criteria. So when you put these things together, that's going to lessen the crime-ridden people. It's not going to attract people that's interested in just trying to make other people's lives miserable. So I do hope the few minutes that I have that it will be considered not to dismantle Germantown Circle because of the senior citizens. They call me a senior. I don't know if I am or not. My spirit hasn't caught up with my age, but they got a lot of people there. Where would they go? Where would they be? And that would not be right to do that. So I just hope you hear what we're saying at Germantown Circle. You see the support. You see and you're hearing the witnesses of people. You're hearing the heart. And I just hope whatever you do, please don't touch Germantown Circle. Amen.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Earl Wilson.
My name is Earl Wilson. I'm representing the Needy Children's Fund Pioneer Fest, and I'm here tonight. The last time I asked about people participating in Pioneer Fest, I was focusing on people that were business owners and politicians that are going to run for office. So far, there's 14 people running, and only 3 have signed up. So my name's Earl. I've got a list of your names on it. So if you want me to copy your name out and challenge you as to whether you're going to participate in this or not. So far, like I said, Andy Witt, Trish Cassidy, and Robert Jones have paid to participate in this. And, we're looking forward to it because Pioneer Fest is the first of a new beginning of East Ridge. We're trying to bring the city back to life. There's been a lot of controversy and turmoil this year, but it's all been good to me because it does show there's still a heartbeat here. And listening to the people speak, we all live here for a reason. And it's a community that teams together. So for those that would like to participate, I'll give you another form.
I've already said I'll do it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we're just waiting on people to sign the form and get the money up. And I know Brian's done it, and I know you said it. So, but that still leaves 10 others that haven't. So we would like for everybody to participate in this. We're going to have a fun day. We're going to have first responders. We're going to have the churches there. Church turned out to be kind of disappointing. We would like for anybody that is church members, go back to church and ask them to get involved. That's going to be part of the foundation of this community for the future. So let's, work diligently. You can reach me or Andy. Any of us are easy to find. Usually I'm at one of the meetings here. So we'd like everybody to participate. Just make it a fun day. It starts, like I said, it's October 13th, Saturday, and we'll run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Each day we keep adding things. There's going to be a karaoke contest. I'm hoping Camden Jones does a magic show for some of the kids. I think that would be great. There's just a lot of opportunity and planning. We're meeting every week for a couple hours. We've got food vendors, other type vendors that are coming in. So let's all team together and just put any other things aside and come together for the community that day and start the first of many of these that we'll have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you, sir. Our next citizen is Laura Mathis, 2100 McBrien Road.
Good evening, council. My name is Laura Mathis, and I live on 2100 McBride Road. I don't know if y'all have had a chance to read Easter's News Online today, but there was an article printed about transparency takes another hit. I did good. I'm going to let y'all look the article up, but I do want to read an excerpt from that article. The following is an email mayor members sent to all IDB members on June 9th, 2018. Hello all. First, I would like to thank each of you for your service to the City of East Ridge and specifically to the Industrial Development Board. You've done a wonderful job and should be commended for it. I feel quite certain that you have all heard from various individuals expressing a concern that was shared with the City Council at our last meeting. This involves the start time of our IDB meetings. Although I think it is very important for us to listen and weigh the opinions expressed by the citizenry, I would encourage you not to be hasty in making a decision. The initial request shared by Leslie Wastain was for you to move your meetings from 5 to 5:30. Since then, Laura Seneca via email has demanded that no city business on board meetings be conducted prior to 6. I can't help but wonder when others will come forward to say the meeting should start even maybe 7:30. I would be interested to see how the county would respond to such demands in regards to their Wednesday morning commission meetings, the WWTA mid-afternoon meetings, and other public activities that take place during the day. For that matter, I suppose the state legislation should conduct all business after 6 p.m. too. I am sure that would be a popular suggestion amongst those who serve in Nashville. Perhaps your experience has been different from mine, but I never once heard a citizen complain about the IDB meetings until last month. And you've been meeting and conducting business for how long? ? You are not alone. The Beer Board, Plan Commission, and Board of Zoning meets at either 5 or 5:30. In any event, I promise to reach out to this board in regards to the meeting times, and I have done that. I only want to encourage you to do what you believe is right, and at that time, you believe it is right. I trust that is exactly what you will do, free of outside pressure and any intent to intimidate you. Let me know if I can be of any assistance, and please keep up the good work. In that meeting, there
were 3 citizens present. One of those citizens was myself. One of the other citizens was Leslie Bostone. When Ms. Braley, Chairman Braley, got to the part of the meeting to discuss the time change, she briefly addressed Ms. Bostone at least 10 times as that person. Ms. Bostone was in the room. I think it's shameful for us to talk about our citizens in that, those, these. You know, she was there. I feel like she should have been addressed, or at least acknowledged by her name and not continue to be called that person.
Can I say something? Didn't you once call me a coward? Didn't you once say that about me? Didn't you once call me a chicken, Mr. Manning down there? You know, it's funny how we've got double standards all over the place. I stand behind that email. I told the IDB that I thought they did a good job and that they will make the right decision. It's not a lack of transparency. I don't care who calls it a lack of transparency. I said right here on this dais that yes, I sent that email. I said exactly what was in that email. There is nothing wrong with that email. I told them to take their time and make the decision they're comfortable with because they're smart people. That's it.
Do I still have a minute left? Since
Yes, ma'am, please do.
Okay. I'm one of the taxpayers that Mayor Lambert thinks is bad for East Ridge, according to what I read from Dick Cook. I am one of those taxpayers who Mayor Lambert encourages his appointees to disrespect. I am one of those taxpayers who is done with the manipulation of city standing committees by Mayor Lambert. We saw it with the Housing Authority. We saw it with the Housing Redevelopment Authority and now at IDB. I ask that you defer any action on approving anything at the IDB meeting this week for 2 weeks until the citizens have time to understand the JAX issue and the Exit 1 lease issues. For those of you who respect the taxpayers, you should stand with the citizens. Thank you.
That's unreal. That is unreal. And Dick, if you wrote that and said it was a lack of transparency, that is shameful. Yes, absolutely. I just said that. It is your opinion, and it's my opinion that it's shameful that you wrote it.
I stand by what I read.
And I stand by my opinion. Our next speaker is James City, 423 Pine Bluff Drive.
I'm James City, 423 Pine Bluff Drive, and I'm on the Industrial Development Board. And Mayor, you're totally right. We have a handful of residents that wants to change everything. The meeting was conducted properly. She was called a lady. She was called a lady. And there were 4 members there instead of 3. And it was 3-1 vote that we not change the time. And why do we change the time? After all these years, just for a handful of residents. They need to make arrangements where they can come to the meeting, if that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Steve Crow, is that correct? Did I say that correctly? Yes, sir. 800 Belvoir Hills Drive.
That's correct.
K-R-O-M-E. I'm Steve Crum. I live at 800 Belvoir Hills Drive. I actually spoke to this matter 3 weeks ago when we had our last board meeting. I stood opposed to the rezoning of the Sweet Bay Apartments. However, I've done my homework since then. I have found out that the Lexington Asset Management Company is actually a Dun & Bradstreet company, bring in an annual revenue of $2.2 million, which quite frankly isn't that much compared to how many properties that they own. They have great work experience with their employees. They have very few negative reviews on social media. Most of those are related to maintenance. When you run that many apartments, you're going to have one or two that are going to be unhappy. The Better Business Bureau has rated them an A+ rating, which is, even though they're not Better Business Bureau members. They do not belong, that I can find, to any Chamber of Commerce, but they have been very open about what they plan on doing with this property. They have done things which most companies would not do. They have actually agreed to all of the things that were requested by the owners. I did talk with Mr. Smith this afternoon. He was going to push back a little bit on the bus stops because there's a liability issue for his company. But other than that, he assures me that they're going to do all of the things that they agreed to with the city manager and the residents. After looking at this, I withdraw my objection to this rezoning. I think that we need it because they're sitting empty right now. They're lowering our property values. I don't think that they're going to have the money, or it's going to be financially worth them trying to increase any amount of properties that they have other than what they're already suggesting. He has indicated to me that any infrastructure issues you have already addressed, sewers, that type of thing. And in defense of the residents that stood up last week, their concerns are more, in my opinion, about Fountain Garden Apartments, which absolutely have nothing to do with the Sweet Bay project, and the speeding that goes up and down Fountain Avenue. I live on the corner of Belvoir Hills and Fountain Avenue, and I can tell you the speeding there is terrible. If the city would consider at some point speed bumps on that road, it would be a wonderful thing. So I withdraw my objections to this. I encourage this commission to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Brett Gallagher. Did I say that correctly? Close. Was in the ballpark. All right, it is 730 Germantown Circle.
Everyone already said everything I was going to say again. But I'm former military. I was in the Marine Corps. I just moved down here. I'm from Michigan. I've lived in Germantown Circle for 9 months now, and it's been quiet, nice. Never seen anything. Everybody's polite. I didn't even have a dolly to move my stuff into my apartment, and some random person went to their apartment, got the dolly, and then came back to give it to me to make my job easier, which was very nice. So I have nothing but compliments about the place. I don't think there's any crime. And just to interject my opinion about what happened earlier when they got a little more tense, anybody who's displeased with the way they do things can run for office themselves. So try not complaining and do something about it.
Amen. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Marvin Scott, 1041 South Seminole.
I'm Marvin Scott, 1041 South Seminole Drive, and I'm here to voice opposition to ordinance to rezone the area on South Seminole. I'm just wondering if anybody's done a crime study. It sounds like maybe somebody's done something with the Germantown Apartments or whatever that's going. It would be nice to know before we move forward that had been done, that somebody would do a study. I'm sandwiched between Terrace Ridge and Bimini Apartments, and I can tell you that there's a lot of crime in those two apartment complexes. I'm not really sure whether or not there'd be, it's like the movie with Tom Hanks in it, Life's Like a Box of Chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. So, looking at the apartments, if somebody's going to build some apartments there, you never know what you're going to get. I retired 2 years ago from the FBI. I know a lot about crime. As a matter of fact, there's been several incidences on South Seminole in my area last month, and I don't know where the guy came from. There was a drunk across the street in the driveway. One of my neighbors, of course, having law enforcement background, I went across the street to see if I could help my neighbor, but the guy had passed out and was just laying there. And I don't know if he came from an apartment complex or if he was in transit from one place to the other, but crime concerns me a lot, and I don't want to be sandwiched once again between another crime-ridden apartment complex. The police respond to Bimini and Terrace Ridge all the time. So before you move forward on that, I would request that somebody do a crime study to see how much crime is in the area of the apartment complexes that are existing on South Seminole. Also, I'm concerned about housing value. Is an apartment complex going to affect the houses, the value of houses around South Seminole? If it negatively affects it, of course, I'm going to be opposed to that as well. I can't think of anything else. If I have time remaining, I would love to be able to speak further when you bring the ordinance up. If that's
There's actually a public hearing
so is that,
on this.
and I'm not really familiar with how this works.
No, you're fine. You may speak again at that time,
Okay.
but we'll be fine. It's my understanding, according to our Director of City Services, that a request from the applicant has been made to table the ordinance, the ordinance on first reading tonight, which would be the rezoning. And he's asked for it to be tabled, which means we're not going to take action. So
was that premature in saying?
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's just to give you a heads up. That's my understanding is that's what is going to happen. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I received an email from Mr. Patel, and what he wants to do during the planning commission meeting. I spoke about this at the 6 o'clock meeting last time. He requested that he gets some traffic study done, do some more due diligence work, similar to what you're explaining. He also presented kind of a depiction of what it would look like, but it had a lake out in front of it, and we know there's not going to be a lake there. So
it doesn't seem like there's a lot of room.
Yeah.
Which brings up another point that I had, what I was going to make. The traffic coming through the tunnels poses a significant risk anyway. If you have, I don't know what area their driveway would be in, but if it goes on the South Seminole, that's something else you have to contend with, the traffic coming in and out of either Ringo Road or South Seminole.
yeah, and it would have to go through a full site plan approval. That's a whole lengthy process even after the fact. But I believe what Mr. Patel's going to do is he'll come up during the public hearing and explain some of the reasons why he's wanting to hold off, if that's what the council decides. It's still up to them to make that decision if that's what they want to do. So I wanted him to still be in attendance to answer questions, and then the council can decide if they move forward with the action and vote or table it, or it's completely the legislative body's decision.
And also, I'd like to be able to talk with my neighbors and present that to them, the proposals, and let them know what's going on so that they have concern. I think there's not a lot of people in my neighborhood that are aware that this is even being, looked at. So it would be nice to have somebody or another opportunity to bring more citizens from the South Seminole area, voice their concern as well.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, sir.
Concerning your neighbors, correct me if I'm not right, Keith, when they do come out to do the rezoning, they're supposed to post within 300, 400 feet from the piece of property that is going to be affecting the neighbors.
Yes, that's correct. So it's the same process as we go through when we have the public hearing for the planning commission. It's mailed out to the citizens that surround it in a certain radius, and we do the exact same process for the public hearing for city council. So there's 2 opportunities, they receive 2 letters, and we encourage citizens to come to both, that way they can express their concerns either for or against the project. So yeah, the exact same process was taken for the planning commission meeting and also for this meeting today.
It was all for those who signed in. Are there any additional comments? See none, we'll move on to communication from council members. Please help me. Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes, I have a few. Mr. Kimball mentioned the barbecue. Just want to reiterate Jones Moore with their barbecue. So, also on September 3rd, the Jones there a civil service, worship service, and a luncheon for first responders. So I want to mention that to get the word out. For any civil servant, first responder, please come join the service and have luncheon with us as well. And then lastly, to Mr. McCullough and to, I think, several other citizens that have mentioned about the crime-free addendum, police addendum. There's a program that Murfreesboro has put in place. It's a crime-free multi-housing program, multi-phase program that engages the police department in putting together a 3-phase step with some training and assistance. And I think it's something worth reaching out to and looking into, see if it's something that we possibly could facilitate. I know it's still not mandatory based on legislation, but I think it's at least we should do some due diligence and just see if it's something that we can benefit from to reduce crime, gang activity, things like that. And I have some information I can share.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Sewell.
I've just got one thing. Well, one thing that on social media, there's a lot of people that's I know so probably like somebody that that want to talk about some of the new businesses coming in. They don't like Jack's or they don't like this one. You know, these people look at this stuff, and everybody says they want a real nice sit-down restaurant. We do too, but you can't. I mean, people read stuff like that. Why do they want to come out here? You know, y'all just need to cool it a little bit. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, if you don't like it, don't go there and eat. I mean, that's all there is to it. But you don't need to be getting on Facebook and all that stuff and telling these people, hey, we don't need that, I don't like that. You know, it's crazy. I mean, here we're trying to bring people in, fill up some of these buildings that's empty, try to do some good things, and then people get over here to, hopefully the same people come over here to complain all the time. That's all I have to say. Now, I'm not running for election, so
There's a certain freedom in being a lame duck. Mr. Cable.
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Oh, for the folks from I've got one thing. The folks who have come out from the Germantown Gardens apartments, thank you for coming out. You know, it's real easy. I think we've seen a little bit of it tonight. It's real easy to throw stones and to really not know what you're talking about when you cast aspersions. And I think we saw from the people who live at Germantown Gardens that it is not a crime-ridden place, although some would like to characterize it or did characterize it as such 3 weeks ago. So again, I just appreciate you coming out and setting the record straight.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. That's That's all I have. Mr. City Manager.
I have nothing, sir. Thank you.
And with that, we will move to item A under old business, ordinance number 1076, which has been tabled previously. Do we have a motion to remove this item from the table? Second. We have a motion and a second to remove this item from the table. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. That item has been removed from the table. We can now consider it. Is there a motion in regard to ordinance number 1076? Second. We have a motion to approve and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor, this week I received a text from Donor Place. We had a conversation, did not sway my vote, I just want to make it public that we did talk this week.
Okay. Thank you for that.
And also, talk with some of the owners, and, you know, I feel like this is a start. They've been over backwards. They own a couple of other complexes in East Ridge, and I think that, they're trying to set a precedent to make these places a better place to live. I'm basically against apartments and duplexes, because I feel like it has ruined our city in some way. But there are some good ones and there are some bad ones. And like I say, like the mayor said, I appreciate y'all coming out and talking about the one you live in. Like I say, they've been over backwards, and I knew you'd have a problem with the bus stop. That's kind of out of anything they can do. If they did bring one in there, what that would do would be bringing kids in onto their property that don't live in, and that's something they don't want to do. They don't, you know, so, and they wouldn't put a stop there probably anyway. They've already got an established stop. So, that's.
I concur. I think he is. And I apologize. I wasn't able to get back. I did receive a call as well, but I wasn't able to just talk to Mr. Russell. But I think they have been over backwards and have tried to do meet every demand that has been requested to ensure that it's a very good fit for both the apartment complex and for the homeowners around. I will ask, will the memo with the items, will that be considered in the ordinance, or will that just be a separate action item that they will carry forward?
Our attorney is occupied.
It's a question.
Okay. So the question that we have from Mr. Williams is that. No, you're fine. You're fine. No, the question from Mr. Williams is the items mentioned in the memorandum. Are those incorporated into the ordinance?
What I was just asking the city attorney is, like an asset management gave us a handout this evening, basically outlining what they plan on doing. Exterior improvements, reinstall traffic mirror assist vehicles, reinstall new landscape around building 2, explore requires to have a bus stop shelter. Landscaping, perennial landscaping will be added around 2, this will be installed on each side of the entrance, fencing will be added on the northwest side behind building 1, screen will be added between building 2, single-family house located in precinct 17 Fountain. They're willing to make space available for bus stop, would like to continue discussions with City of East Ridge to help with any potential liability issues. Screening, all prospective tenants will go through the screening process that they have. Leases will include the crime, drug-free housing addendum. They've offered that. courtesy officer. We'll have a courtesy officer who's responsible for the following: lighting, occupied buildings, sweep air well lit. We will install lighting on building 2 during renovation, cameras, security cameras and capture, traffic, all of those, basically the conditions. I like to see that they have agreed to format there. And I would like to ask, I was asking the city attorney, can all of this be incorporated as conditions to the rezoning? You just approve the rezoning as it is. You may or may not do these conditions. I like these conditions tied to the rezoning. He's offered them, we should accept them.
Basically,
I
what I was
mean,
asking.
yes. I'm sorry, I'm not running the meeting. Am I right in saying that this is what you have?
It is. My understanding, I spoke with City Attorney Litchford as well. I think there are things that were on the original memo that, based on his presentation last week, actually cannot be tied to the rezoning. But that's why I addressed them in the presentation, because we still plan to follow through with those things.
Right.
So he told me that the rezoning can really be its size and use, and that operational issues can't be included. But that's why I gave a presentation that basically said we're still addressing these anyway.
Correct.
Quite honestly, most of them are standing operating procedure. So, and that crime-free addendum came out of a lease that we use every property.
But it's nice to say that this is here, right, you're doing it, because who knows, if somebody else buys another apartment complex in this city, wants to do something, we can say, hey, these guys moved it up to the board, they said they were gonna do this, we can make them do the same thing.
Okay, well, that's why I wanted to.
Gives us some leverage.
I didn't think we were okay with the way the original memo was written.
I
It's
agree.
not the same, that's why I wanted to put that in writing.
Yeah, all I wanted to say is if you made some conditions in here that you said you are gonna do specifically, screening, fencing, security, all that bit.
Of course.
And I just think that if this would be incorporated and attached to the condition for rezoning, then these will be done. It's gonna do it anyway.
I'm okay with that.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so it'd be the presentation and not the memorandum.
This, yes, you tie it to the Selection and Asset Management Sweet Bay Apartments brochure dated September 13, 2018. This would be as a condition of the zone, which addresses these issues. What's going to be specifically the landscaping as well as the, if you just approve the ordinance, you're not going to get these conditions. You will, but I want to make sure that it's done.
I'm saying the same thing as you was.
You know, the bottom line is, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years? Lexington has somebody turn around and want to sell to somebody else. You sell to somebody else, these conditions still remain. Even though since it's not there, these are tied to this rezoning. So it goes with the land. Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second to approve. Mr. Litchford, is there an opportunity to amend so that?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, because it's first reading. So on the second reading, when we come back, we'll adjust the ordinance 1076 to reflect that the conditions that the developer has agreed to will be incorporated into the ordinance. My suggestion is you want it in the body of the ordinance so that when this is looked up, that you've got it in the body. There's not something that's
Not a separate document.
Yeah, and I will work with city manager Miller and we'll get that incorporated in.
Ms. Helton, you made the motion. Will you
Yes.
amend your motion to include?
I've made the motion to have all the, everything included in there in the ordinance.
In the presentation. So we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance with the items listed in the presentation as being requisite for the rezoning. Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sewell.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. That item is approved. We will have second reading in 2 weeks. That was first reading. September 27th. Item D, Resolution 2825, which was tabled on August 9th.
Mayor, why don't we just on the table, Mr. Tim James and I have met on this, we've discussed it. We need more time to work with the architect in an attempt to value engineer this project, bring the cost down, make it more affordable. So at this time, I say leave it on the table, it's not ready to be brought down. I have no information, financial information to provide you at this time.
Okay. There's no action. There's no motion to remove from the table. We will just leave it there. Move on to item C, Resolution 2834, resolution in regard to making an appointment on the Eastridge Planning Commission, and I'm just going to reappoint Ron Reniker. Ron Reniker. Can we just...
Make a motion.
Thank you. Have a motion, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. I do want to move an item if it's possible. If council is willing to do that. We do have item E, Resolution 2843. They've been patient in waiting here until this point. Ross Malone and Don Lyle are here on behalf of Ducks Unlimited.
My name's Don Lyle.
Apologize for the wait.
Volunteer chair, Chattanooga, Ross Malone, president. And I'm the general manager of Star Restaurant in Chattanooga.
Excellent restaurant.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yes. I know all about social media. Convey for it. We are partnering in a special event, so I'm met for the beer board and had a meeting with Mr. Miller, the police chief, regarding having a temporary special event permit for an event at Camp Jordan. It's for Ducks Unlimited, which is the chair. And we're going to be providing the catering for this event. We're expecting 350 people. This will be on Thursday, October 18th, between the hours of 5 and 10 p.m. We basically would like to solicit any questions or any concerns that we may have.
Council, do you have anything?
City staff has reviewed it. We recommend to the council that this be approved. It is a closed event. It's not open to the public. No invitation, no meeting. And also, one of the conditions that we added was that the applicant pay for one police officer to work the event from 4:30 to 10:30 p.m., half hour before, half hour afterwards. And we're fine, staff's fine with it.
Make a motion approved.
I've got questions.
He beat you with the motion. We'll get a second, then you can ask your questions. We have a motion?
Second.
Second. Mr. Williams? Okay. Mr. King.
Mr. Booker, you have my copy of mine. All right, let's start on page 4 of the ordinance. I'm wondering if he has all the necessary federal, state, and local permits.
What, sir, speak to me?
You're the one selling the beer, yes, sir?
Yes, sir. We do have the permit for that. We have.
City of East Ridge?
Yes, sir. We have all of our servers and bartenders have been certified in the state of Tennessee, so we're serving beer only. in Class A cuts. We will be giving wristbands out, and checking IDs out the door.
All right.
I should add too, they have a Stir who is catering it, does have a Tennessee Department of Revenue compliance certificate for resale in the state. They also have their certificate of liability insurance, which is active for this event. Also naming the City of East Bridge as certificate holder, so insurance-wise. And an insurance identification card we got from TML Risk Management Pool regarding this. Got that.
They have the application for privilege tax permit.
Honestly, I'm not sure what that is.
Well, it's 57-5104 in the Tennessee Code annotated. They need to apply for a fee privilege tax so that we'll have an address and a thing where we can go back and collect our sales tax off of the beer that they sell at this thing.
Well, I think that's what their Tennessee Department for Blanket Certificate of Resale is. Tennessee Code, Title 67, Chapter 6. Stir is the one that has to have it in their name because they're the ones that catering it. We don't collect that. But yes, this basically is from them. They don't have this in their name, they can't serve.
Okay. I've got another problem with it. I notice here on his drawing, you're going to have one keg of Budweiser beer, one keg of Bud Light. He's also going to have one keg of Sweetwater 410. I can't find 410 in the thing. I can find the Sweetwater 420.
420.
Okay, 420 is above our standards of what can be sold on this special permit. Our volume of beer can only be up to, it's got to be less than 5%. The Sweetwater is 5.3 to 5.7. So our special permit in the sale of Sweetwater, well, they call it 410, but there's no such thing on the computer. So 420, but then they can't sell this beer with this permit. That is in our last things that we amended for this.
Yeah. Mr. Malone and I already agreed that that's not a make or break office of that, and we can absolutely do that if it needs to be amended and people to show that you don't have it or something.
Under, what's happened is when this was passed, what ordinance was the, I'm sorry, Councilman? Back in
1060.
1060, I think that was last November, I think, 1060. At the time, that was considered under state law, I think, beer was 5% or less. Since we, has since been amended, that a beer now is 8% or less under the state code. The city has 57-5-101. Our city code limits a beer defined to 5%. That's what the state statute was. And so that's the discrepancy here. The city code is 5%. There was, in order for them to be able to serve above that, then what we would have to do is change the code as it relates to the definition of beer to mirror what the state code defines as currently.
It probably doesn't help with this situation, but it probably would be wise, sounds like, if instead of us defining it as 5%, we tie our standard to the state standard.
Yeah, what you want to do under state.
Whatever that becomes, if they come back and they drop it down to 5%, then okay, ours comes back to 5%.
But as of today, we're going with 5%.
Right.
And that's 8-206 of the city code, is it limits it to 5% of not more than 5% weight. Because that's been in effect since '93. But I agree, Mayor, that if you wanted to change that, you would just move. We wanted to pass an ordinance that did attract, or that did track, but state code did under 57.5/101. You just say, having alcohol content as defined under under applicable state law as amended. That's what you can say. Councilman Kay was right. Right now it's at 5%.
Got one more thing. We have the new tattoo thing here. Number 5 on this ordinance here says we're supposed to read a post-event report. Have we ever given one showing?
Yep.
The vehicle within?
That report basically was one sentence. We had no incidents whatsoever. Like Chief had covered it.
So they didn't sell nothing?
They sold, yes, but we didn't have any incidents of crime.
Well, number 5 here says, it shall contain the total revenue generated from the sale of the alcohol. That's the.
I don't know if we got, I did not get that. I don't know if that was submitted to the city or not. I'd have to check on that. I don't recall it, to be honest with you.
It should be.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to get one on this one too.
You got it?
We'd be happy to provide that. I want this to be a successful event.
Yes, sir.
For East Ridge, absolutely, but we're 100% on that.
Especially when I see that Sweetwater pier, that's one of those high gravity things that's definition if you go here or there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second on the floor. We can come back and tweak it, amend the motion and the second to reflect the fact that the Sweetwater will not be included or anything else that might be above 5%. I mean, it's already part of our, obviously, of our ordinance, but to make it clear and clean, that would be, I think that would be my suggestion.
That's not wrong. We'll amend this 2043 to reflect that, to extend it, to clarify.
Like the mayor, I think we need to maybe come up in the next meeting or two, bring up where we follow the state. If it goes up, goes down,
All right, so if it's all right, Ms. Helton, I think you made the motion. Is it okay to amend it to reflect what we talked about here?
I believe.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions?
Just have one question about, is there the form, can I have that emailed to me, or is that something that we present?
For the report. We can.
It would be on that.
Yeah, we can provide some things.
Appreciate you coming here.
Absolutely, thank you for letting us speak, and we look forward to hearing that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I sure will. There you go. It was a while ago. Yes, that is right. It was because both seconded kind of at the same time. So, the motion, if this sounds good to you, is to approve the request for the permit, provided that they serve only right, that they only serve beverages that are compliant with our ordinance. It's kind of redundant, but because
That's what we.
this was here.
I don't feel like it's that, so.
Well, no, I understand. You would think if we're going to give them a permit, it would have to follow our ordinance. So it may be, again, repetitive or, repeating what our ordinance says, but it needs to be said.
But it was addressed, so
It was.
you mentioned it.
Right, exactly. So we have a motion and a second to approve with the condition that the applicant follow our ordinance, our existing ordinance. So, that is the motion. Are there any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Item is approved. All right, at this time, we will move to item A, a public hearing for ordinance number 1080. This is in regard to the rezoning of 1023 South Seminole Drive at 3118 Ringgold Road from C2 General Commercial District and O1 Office District and R1 Residential District to R3 Apartment District. Having been properly advertised, we will open this public hearing, and I understand that Mr. Custer, if you'll come forward, and then we'll have Mr. Patel come forward as well.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. All right, so I understand we have a request to table for now the ordinance, but what is the condition under which we're doing that? Go ahead, Jim.
The traffic study, I'm going to order a traffic study just to see the flow of the traffic. That's what the concern in the zoning board. So I'm going to order the traffic study to get that done.
Okay.
Also the graphic design of the total area of what I'm going to plan. So before you can actually order it, you can see it, what it's going to be looking like. I don't want to be like under, say, because it's going to be really nice, for the luxury apartment complex. It's not going to be bad. What they say in the city, it's a bad apartment complex. I'm going to be investing a significant amount of money in an apartment complex. So I want you guys to visually see it, what it's going to look like before you can work on it, right? So it's in the process right now. That's why I actually asked Kenny, if we could kind of table it for now and then we get my, things together. Because I only get one shot at it, So I want to give my 100% looking forward.
Makes sense.
And he did request that in an email to myself, but I told him the public hearing had already been advertised. City Manager Mel and I spoke about it, contacted BJ, let him know to come, address the council and provide that information, and then it was up to you all to decide how you wanted to proceed.
Kenny, can I say something?
Yes.
On this, seems to be the traffic, a lot of the issue, and maybe, and we have people that want to come up and do lake apartments and such as that, is if the street needs to be widened, whatever it takes to control the traffic, maybe if they be responsible for trying to get that done.
If that's a requirement for the engineering study?
No, the traffic study, but I mean, if they so, okay, the road needs to be widened 40 feet, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, the traffic study that he provides to submit to the city is going to be reviewed by our city engineer, CTI, because they're our city engineers, and whether they agree with it or not agree with it, and if it says in there the road needs to be wide, and that's confirmed by my CTI, then that's going to be made a condition of the rezoning, absolutely.
Not only, we do have a couple of places that was built, apparently that wasn't done back a couple of years ago.
We got a stacking lane problem on the left turn lanes going northbound on 77.
Right.
You got 80 apartments coming in there.
I think that needs to be a condition on anything like that from now on, because we've got one apartment complex that's on the other end of Ringo Road that's probably got 400 apartments in there, that you've got a single road and a school bus and a car can't get there.
Are you talking about?
Probably about the one up there by Camp Tour.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So we are relying heavily on CTI for a number of things, including drainage, but also they just did a review for us on Roosevelt Meadows subdivision, where they're going to build another 20 or so homes. And when they went in to do the review, so if you'll remember the old Roosevelt Road, Councilman Cagle and I talked about this before, that they finished the site plans. So, yes, they're taking the old road out, and the whole road, all the way back to McBride, will actually meet current standard, and that's part of the design project. So, moving forward, that's how we've been addressing these issues. But now that we have an engineering firm that looks at all aspects of design, when it comes to us for preliminary, and then once the traffic's going.
They look at McBride Road too, basically, on that one.
It's only adding 20 more houses.
But they are going to look at the water
Yes.
drainage.
Should T-Dot be brought in on this up there? Because you have to be widening all the way around from 41 Highway.
If the traffic study comes back and they recommend that it goes to an engineer for design, and if it affects any portion of the intersection that goes into the state right of way, then yes, they would have to be involved.
Are there any other comments or questions you wish to put down? Or for Kenny, for that matter? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I will ask that even though the request has been made for the council to table this, we do have a public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to speak in regard to this project, please do come forward. We have one here, and then Mr. City will be next. You're fine, sir. You can come on down. If you'll just state your name and address for the record.
My name is William Mullane. I live at 1025 South Seminole Drive. The property immediately adjacent to the one that's in question to be rezoned. One of my biggest concerns is, of course, traffic. I have concerns about lowering my property values by, it's my understanding they're going to tear down the dwelling, the residence that's on 1023, and put the entrance to their apartment complex, which will be up on the hill there. So that would put that right next to me in my house. My bedroom window would be about 25 feet from their property line. If this is approved, goes forward, I need assurances that we'll have some sort of a buffer to, shrubs, trees, whatever, to keep this from being a nuisance to us. And I've lived there 45 years, and I'd like to continue to live there in East Ridge. And also the apartments themselves will be behind me up the ridge, and I'm concerned about the drainage. We have water problems now with the groundwater coming off the ridge, and if they put all this asphalt in, we will have problems if it's unhandled properly. So I can't say don't do it, but if it's done, I appreciate it if it could be done properly.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comments. Mr. City. Yes, sir.
Not bad, guys. I'm James City, 423 Pine Brook Drive. I own the property at 1001 South Seminole. And it's been my business, my family runs a company. And I am concerned about several things. Traffic is one. And can I approach you as pictures? I don't foresee that we need a traffic study for these pictures. I went down South Seminole a couple of weeks ago. traffic was backed up all the way to Lisa Drive, which is almost a half a mile away from Ringo Road. And this time is the rush hour in the morning. And my family business has trouble getting their trucks out because all the traffic backed up. And that's one of the concerns. And the other concern is stormwater runoff. Behind my building, 15 feet, his property ground level is 16 feet higher than my floor of my building. And I get water now, and I've got a wall built up there now, but still the ground is 4 to 5 feet above the wall I have. I'm very concerned about that. And I've lived in these streets all my life. I was born and raised in these streets. And we do not need any more apartments. This is commercial area. He's saying he's going to do these high-scale apartments. Okay? On one side of the building, he's going to look at the side of Missionary Ridge. The other side, he's going to look down on top of all these businesses. And I'd love to see a business there, not an apartment complex. And we have trouble now. We have to chain our parking lot off because they come in and buy beer next door, sit there and drink it. We had a employee picnic table under a canopy beside the building going to take breaks. We had to do away with that. We found syringes and everything there. And 95% or 90% of his business comes through the tunnel from East Lake. You know what I mean. And it's just not a good place. If there are children there, where's the bus stop going to be? And if there's 80-unit apartments, there's going to be at least another 160 cars coming out of it. So, I'm just not for it. Just not for it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for providing the photos.
May I say this, Mayor? When you made the comment about this is a service, it's so right, because all the clowns on these streets are mine.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCullough. Yes, sir.
Charles McDonald, 1214 Ridge Avenue. Mr. Mayor, I know you talked about not throwing stones, but I've done some research on this, and I feel like there's some things that you need to know.
Disagreeing with a project is very different from trying to attack someone's character. So I think those of us who have the ability to reason and we get that, we understand that distinction. So please do, if you have a comment or concern, please share with us.
Okay. There's been a lot of talk about trying to revive the west side of town. I feel like this is going to be a step backwards for that. The Planning Commission denied this. In 2006, the City Council denied a 10-unit development on this exact property. Now we're looking at 80 units. Traffic, you saw the pictures, traffic is a nightmare already. I drive through every day on the way to work. A bad day, you'll be backed up halfway to Bennett Road, away through 4 or 5 wet cycles. Mr. Patel tried to tell us at the Planning Commission that he had never seen it back up past his store in the 12 years that he's been there. Anybody who drives through there is 745. See the traffic. Drainage is going to be a huge problem. I went and looked at the GIS maps for this property. From the west side of the Ringgold Road property to the east side of the South Seminole, there's a 100-foot rock on the ridge. That's going to go somewhere, probably into the road, either into the road or into Mr. City's basement. In addition, there's claims that these are going to be high-end, high-rent apartments at are gonna be priced at $12.50 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, that sounds good, that sounds like something we need. We all know that's unsustainable here. I went and looked at the real estate listing. The average is, for a 2-bedroom apartment in the city is somewhere around like $775 to $825. The highest I found was $895 along that apartment. You can rent a 2-bedroom house at 6905 Northview for $900 a month, and we're going to ask $1250 for a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, asking 50% more than the market rate is going to backfire. Rent and tenant standards are going to decline as the bills come due, and we've got to fill slots. I've seen that happen personally when I used to live at Veranda at the Ridge. When I moved in, it was a nice place to live. They started doing rent specials, background checks, relax a little bit. We started having noise complaints, vandalism, car burglaries, my car was hit and run on. I finally moved once they let a guy with an ankle monitor move into a channel. They claimed they were doing background checks. Okay. I feel like this kind of decline is what we're signing up with if we allow Mr. Patel to build this based on just totally unrealistic project. It's not. Change direction a little bit. See what kind of landlord Mr. Patel would be. I took a look at his nearby business, the Express Mart. I found out Records Express was dead. In the past 4 years, there have been 30 police incidents there, including 4 assaults and domestic calls, 7 drug and alcohol incidents, firearm charges. I went there yesterday to check it out. At this establishment, you can buy 3 25-ounce beers for $4. You can buy something labeled wired hemp rolling papers. You can buy adult magazines. On his rezoning application, Mr. Patel wrote these would be upscale modern apartments. I agree that a luxury complex would be good for the city, it would be great for the west side. That's not really what you're voting on. I contend if this is run the same way the convenience store is run, it's going to destroy any chance of reviving the west side of town.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comments. Do we have another? I see none. With that, we will close this public hearing.
Mayor, will there be another public hearing, if it's invited?
This will be the only one if it's tabled. We do not have to do the public hearing again. So we will proceed to item B, ordinance 1080. On first reading, if there's a motion to table, we will entertain that. If there's a motion to approve or deny, we will entertain that. What is your
Make a
pleasure?
motion to table this, and I'd like to put a 8-week thing to get him to get back here. 8 weeks, doing traffic study. Does that sound proper?
Yeah, it does. I just want to make sure that if it gets to us, that we have ample time with our engineers to be able to review it. I don't want to get
Let's
this
put the
report
input
back in 7 weeks and then have 1 week of CGI.
Yeah, let's put 10 week on.
Well, how long do you think the traffic engineer is studying? When do you think you'd have that?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. Maybe 8 weeks, it sounds good.
8 weeks?
8
So
to 10
that
weeks
means
sounds
you get 4 weeks and I get 4 weeks. That's how I interpret that.
Well, for 10 weeks, let's do 5 and 5.
10, you brought it up, 10, 5 and 5, okay. Okay, for 10 weeks. That was your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second? Can we have the roll call, please? A motion to table for 10 weeks.
Vice Mayor Sewell.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton. Yes. Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Carol.
Yes. So that item is tabled.
I'm sorry, I want to bring up another issue.
Yes.
Kenny, on this review process, are they going to have the stormwater drainage plan completed so that we have adequate time to review that?
Yeah, I believe they've already started on the stormwater drainage study because it was discussed about how much they would be able to retain on that lot, and it had already been recommended by their engineer to do underground detention, subsurface detention.
Okay, so that's underway, okay, good.
That's currently under your, you've discussed that with the engineer, correct?
Okay, thank
Did
you.
you say underground retention?
Underground retention.
If you're limited on space,
Yeah, I
you could,
understand, yeah.
sometimes that'll be, what it costs for and whether it does on this, but that'll definitely be a topic of conversation to be able, absolutely, and to be able to retain as much of that first half inch as possible.
Half inch.
Half inch of the triangle.
That was 1 inch.
Bottom of the mitigation line.
Okay.
All right, I have had a request to, if we could do item, I'll be glad to speak to this. It was the issue, the ordinance, the rezone has been tabled for 10 weeks.
10 weeks, correct.
So in 10 weeks, that gives enough time for Mr. Patel to do the traffic study, to get it to Mr. Miller, who can have our engineers look at it and provide an opinion as well before council considers it further. So for right now, there's no action. We're not letting it go through, but we're also not necessarily stopping it at this point.
Will the notification still go out to the residents?
Kenny, at this point, is there any obligation or?
10 weeks right now is November 22nd. That's when we meet next. However, is that not Thanksgiving?
It is.
Okay, so that would be pushing it to December 13th. That's when it would come back to this council, December 13th.
Second reading would be new council.
It may be, yeah. We're actually,
About that.
actually December 13th, you and I'll be gone. So, whatever we want to do. I mean, at this point, it's 10 weeks, so we can't consider it for at least 10 weeks. It could, because the chances are very slim that we will have a meeting on Thanksgiving Day.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It will probably roll over to the first meeting of December,
13th.
which will be December 13th.
You might, well, I said, you wasn't gonna have another public hearings, and it may be at that point that we have we'll have a whole new council probably.
You're going to have a change.
I would like to see if we can, if this is possible, can we notify the same people who received the notice for this public hearing? That's just a long time away. You got the holidays in between. I'm afraid people, it's just gonna fall off the radar, and all of that. So, if we can notify the same folks that we've already notified, just ahead of that meeting, so that they can be here if they want to be here. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I didn't get any kind of notification, but reference to traffic, it already backs up way past my house. So, if I need to get somewhere in and out, it's gonna affect me, but I didn't get any kind of notification at all.
And you're at what address? Sorry?
1041.
1041. There is a requirement that if you're within 300 feet,
300 feet from the property.
so if If you didn't get one, you may fall just outside of the 300 feet.
If we have another public meeting,
There won't be another public hearing, but this won't be considered again until, it sounds like December 13th. So, and what I've requested is that everyone who was notified the first time for this public hearing be notified again ahead of that meeting. So, because we've got Thanksgiving between now and then, and that's just a long time, it's 12 weeks essentially.
This gentleman give his address to Kenny?
Yes, absolutely.
Make sure he gets one.
could anybody between me and proposed location?
Yes.
Because there are a lot of residents in that area that are affected by traffic right now. Traffic backs up every single weekend, way past my house. And somebody said it's almost to, I guess, halfway to Benton. So it's already a problem area.
Okay.
If you add 84 parking, it's going to be a nightmare.
Understood.
Traffic study done.
Yeah, so
My point being, I'd like to see everyone between, all of my neighbors get some kind of notice.
sure. We will take care of that for those residents on South Seminole.
Just so we're clear.
Yes, sir.
You want me to increase the radius of the normal notification process?
That's what they're telling you.
That's what I'm asking.
It sounds like if this gentleman is at 1041, you said, 1041, and the property in question is 1023, it's pretty close, even though it may not be. So, Council, what do you think?
How far do you go out to Bob Johnson's house?
It's 300 feet
300 feet from the property.
from the edges of the property line.
We actually look at the aerial and go out 300 feet.
But I said, Bob Johnson's first house on the first street on the right, he lives right there. Within the first block, so.
Bob Johnson's 2 doors down from my house, closer to the location. But I'm affected, even neighbors down the street from me, away from the proposed location, are affected by traffic already.
I'd say down to at least mid. We had on South Seminole.
That's a pleasure of the council. Is that what you want to do? Okay, so,
We will mail out, we will keep the same 300 radius and mail out to everybody that has a South Seminole address all the way to Benton.
all the way back.
Is there any signage that goes up, and maybe this is something that?
There is a zoning sign.
Yes.
There is, so
Yes, yes.
so people drive by and see that.
For the public hearing, yes.
I think it's outside, it's inside.
And if that, I hear people speaking from back here, if it's in the weeds, you can't see it, we can have that relocated, we can make sure that it's legible, it's supposed to be in the view for the public, so that's something else that we can make sure that that's taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, one other question. You know, if there's no longer another public.
Can you just come on up to the microphone?
So if there's no more public hearings, people that are notified will not have a chance to.
They will, because at every meeting of the city council, there is opportunity for citizens to come for 5 minutes and speak, which is the time that you took earlier. So they will have the chance to speak, even though there's not a public hearing. There can still be 10, 20, however many people that come and want to speak about this topic at that meeting. And they will speak before council has opportunity to take action.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, I've had a request from Ms. Helton to move item F up, if we can, and that's just the her appointment to the Industrial Development Board, that the council has to do this. I'm trying to find the paper you handed me. There it is. All right, and your proposed appointee would be Rick Torek. And he is at 4115 Fountain Avenue.
Been a resident for 42 years, and he's a consultant, sales and use tax, corporate, and personal income tax. I think he's going to be a great addition to the board.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So council, if we can get a motion in regard to that motion to approve. Second. Motion and a second to approve. We can have the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Stoll,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, we have another public hearing. This is for ordinance number 1081, which is the rezoning of 1509 Waterhouse Street from R1 Residential District to C2 General Commercial District. Kenny, you're going to work out tonight. Yeah, we probably do. It'll be Kenny's chair. All right, if you will kind of give us the lay of the land in regard to this request.
Yes, this is a rezone of 1509 Waterhouse Street from R1 Residential to C2 General Commercial. This residence, or this business is adjacent to a property that had a home on it at one time that was damaged by fire severely and eventually razed. As part of the business, they acquired that parking lot and would like to use it for commercial parking. In order to do that, they need to make it a conforming use, so they're asking to expand the C2 zone down to that next parcel so they can use that for their lot. Looking at some of the recommendations from RPA, the request is compatible with the land uses to the north, but is incompatible with some of the single-family residential to the south. We've had the similar situation on some of the other side streets or artery streets that we expanded that zone, but it allows for currently, because between commercial and residential, low density or high density residential, you're required to have a minimum of a 10-foot deep landscape buffer, and that's according to our code, and it states what type of trees, how they have to be laid in, so that would be required in order for the zoning to happen. It's already in our code, so that's just part of the process. Some of the other concerns that were raised were if this property was ever taken, was ever sold by this individual or subdivided, and they decided to put a drive-through, it could cause some concern for some of the residents. Still, a lot of that can be controlled by making sure that their lights are the proper height, making sure their speakers are not at a certain decibel level. So even in the future, depending on how the rezoning goes, we could look at individually on what type of establishment can be there.
1507 zone commercial code, C2.
1507?
Yes, sir. That's what the parking lot's for. 1507 is business.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, is it already zoned?
Yes, yes. This would just be moving it down one lot to cover this parking lot. And I believe the house, I want to say the house was raised somewhere around 10 years ago, 8, 10 years ago.
Okay, is the applicant here? Council, do you have any questions? You're Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions, council, that you would like to ask of Mr. Coffey? And Mr. Coffey, is there anything you'd like to say? Other than what's already been said? Understood.
And we'll work with them on the landscaping requirements to make sure they understand what has to be installed.
Okay.
We'll do whatever is necessary that the city requires.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate Thank you, Ken. Are there any citizens who would like to speak in regard to this potential rezoning? I see none, so we will close this public hearing and move to consideration of ordinance 1081 on first reading. Make a motion to approve. We have a motion and a second to approve. Are there any questions?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'll read, make sure we get the caption.
Okay. Yes, yes, sir.
Ordinance number 1081, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee to amend the zoning regulations and zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee so as to rezone the property located at 1509 Waterhouse Street, tax map number 169K-K-004 from R1 Residential District to C2 General Commercial District.
Make a motion to approve. Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve. We can have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Cotton?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. That item is approved. On first reading. Would like to move up item J. We're moving a lot of things around, but I would like to move item J to consideration now, and this is something we do every year. Mr. Larry Clark, it is always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Resolution 2848, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, for the city to participate in the annual Tennessee River Rescue event.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is something we do every single year. You're gonna have to remind me, it's been longer than I've been here, for sure. How many years? 30 years. So we've been partnering with them, I think, for the last 14 years. 13
Actually, 29.
Oh, wow. So you've done it longer than I've been here. And we also do get a grant to help us with funding to get T-shirts, to sponsor the event, things for the volunteers, snacks, water, buffer pellet, things like that. And this year's event, just like always, the first Saturday of October, which is October the 6th. Actually, it's the 7th. So October the 6th from 9 a.m. to 1. And are we still meeting at the same location down on Yale Street? And we invite you all to come out and get your waders on and put some gloves on and help us clean up the creek.
This is amazing, just the amount of debris that comes out every year.
I was going to just mention that we've been working for 13 years on Spring Creek, and our total so far is we removed 472 tires.
Wow.
From Spring Creek, from Springvale Road down to behind the city garage. We've removed 53 shopping carts, and we've removed 31,000 pounds of trash and debris out of Spring Creek.
Wow, that is amazing. Certainly a job well done by you, Mr. Clark, and everyone who's participated through the years.
We had 643 volunteers over that 13-year period.
There's a day again.
October the 6th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we'll meet down, usually it's around the city garage, and we'll walk down to a couple of different entry places there. And we'll have water, we'll have something to snack on, we'll have T-shirts for participants, and usually there is a prize for the most unique. Yes. And there are some very unusual things that come out of
We've seen
Spring
Santa
Creek.
Claus come out of the creek, haven't
Yes.
You have this. Larry had us get a few mattresses out.
Yeah, Danny Manning was even down there too. He used some creek mud to cut his hand and healed it right up, I swear.
Mayor, she tried to get me to go to the doctor, I said, this work is good.
Yeah, he wouldn't, he didn't listen.
And I put it on my hand, he stopped me bleeding. This day, I still don't have a call.
There you go. Well, thank you again for all that you do. have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sewell.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. That item is approved. All right, we're going to shift back up to item G, Resolution 2845.
The resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, awarding bids for the purchase and installation of carpet and vinyl plank flooring for the city library.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Are there any questions?
How soon would they be able to start, Patty?
They said after they get the council's approval, they'll order, and it'll take at least 3 weeks to get it in, so maybe looking like the end of October, without the competition.
Fantastic.
Just so everybody knows, we had the walls were all painted, that's all completed, so this will be the second portion of this library upgrade project. The interior will look real nice.
All right. Are there any comments or questions? Thank you very much. We have a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sewell.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. Item is approved. Item H, Resolution 2846.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager to enter into negotiations for the purchase of land to be used for the construction of a recreational dog park facility within the Border Region Retail Tourism Development District.
We have not received any word back from the Department of Revenue in regard to the construction of a proposed animal control facility, whether we can use Border Region sales tax dollars for that project. However, we could move forward, can move forward with the development of a dog park because this is an eligible project for funding under the Border Region Retail Tourism Development District Act. Kenny Custer and I have looked at vacant land around the center part of the city. We have identified a tract which we feel is suitable for a dog park. It's located on the northwest corner of East End Avenue with Oakdale Drive, adjacent to the back of Ridgewood Plaza. Consists of 3.29 acres. The parcel is well distanced from any single-family neighborhood, so there are no single-family neighborhood or houses that are even in close proximity to this location. So if dogs are out there barking, I don't think we're going to see problems, neighbors, complaints with it. Approximately one half of the rear parcel lies in the floodway, and the other would lie, the other half lies in the floodplain. There does exist room on the track on the far, say, corner lot, taking a corner piece of that 3.29 acres, that if we do get approval from the Department of Revenue, we could build a building. I had an appraisal done of the land by Hastings Group back in April this year. Value of the land is appraised at $210,000. Back and forth between the owners of the land, we've gotten down to the $210,000, which is the appraised value. But now I'm asking his consideration from the City Council to move ahead on the development of the dog park at this location. Specifically, authorize myself and the city attorney to get involved in what procedures and processes we need to jump through to acquire the land, and then also for myself and staff to look at estimated costs for clearing of the parcel. A good portion of it is open. There are some selective grading that's going to have to be done to remove some undergrowth and brush, and then also the installation of fencing around the entire 3.29 acres. And I would bring these back to you when I was able to have them. Right now, I'm asking for your authorization to proceed with this project.
I'd like to say something. I looked at comparable places. This comparable number 2, which is up there at 3400 block of Greenville Road. it's away from the residential, it's all around commercial. And it's listed, it's appraised at, sale price is $219,000 instead of $210 is the other one. It wouldn't be no prep, nothing up there, because that's the old trailer park.
What's the address?
3400 Ringo Road. It's up our Black Hawk.
That's where the old Jim Walters.
That's where the old Jim Walters used to be. Yes, sir, it goes back in there.
No, I understand that, and one reason why I would not be recommending that parcel is, number one, it's on Ringo Road. Number two, it's in the Board of Regents District. Number three, it's commercial, and that's good land that we should not take off the tax maps.
I think it's already got the sale biddings out of it.
What I'm saying is, I think that can be developed for a business that's going to bring in property tax and sales tax. This piece of land that we're looking at here, which is before you tonight, 3.29 acres, I talked to the owner of that. Half of that can never be developed. He can't put anything. Half of that's in the floodway. It can't be built on. And if he builds anything in a floodplain, he's got to elevate it. So his costs to build there is going to be heavy. I don't really would recommend to the council that we take land along a major commercial corridor and take it off the tax rolls. It's best, something may not be developed today, but something may be developed 2 years or 3 years from now that's going to bring in this revenue. This parcel of property is not going to bring in much revenue, ever. That's my reason.
Here's my second part. We've got the Hamilton County, Tennessee thing here. It says it's got a house on it.
This one?
Yes, sir.
No. The house is on the other side. There's a house on the other side, that's Wanson's property. This property I'm looking at, 3.29
It's got a house
acres.
in front of it. Just look at the map
It's been torn down.
It's been torn down.
The photos are not updated through the GIS, but it has been, yeah, it has been raised.
And the Hamilton County tax thing here shows it's got a house on it.
I know, but I went out there and looked at it, it's on the house.
All right. They have the appraisal value at $174,900.
Oh, I understand. I will say that,
And that's showing the property value at $96,400, and now we're appraising that vacant piece of property at $210,000. This is the tax records from 2017.
I understand.
So,
But a lot of real estate in this city is not valued at what the property appraiser has appraised at.
everything he showed in his appraisals here were showing that anything in the flood zone, he made a statement that cost at least $4.50 per square foot to fill them in compact to where they can be built on.
We're only talking about 0.29 acres or for a 3,000 square foot building.
Okay.
That's all I'm looking at. The animal control facility is only going to be about 4,000 square foot. It's 3,000 square foot, I think, would be acceptable.
That's added to the $210,000 that we're going to have to.
And fencing, yeah, and yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at land that if we're not going to receive any development on for the years ahead. Land elsewhere in the city, it's got the potential to be developed on, then I think we shouldn't take it off the tax rolls. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, you know, I've been